for the Infrastructure Committee. And first thing we got to do is approve Kate to phone in to us. So I need a motion for that. Betty, seconded by Rob. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Kate, welcome in. You are there, Kate. No, Kate?
She'll be calling in at some point, I know.
Okay, she'll be calling in later on. Thank you. When you said she's going to call in, I assumed she was on the phone, but all right. We have, of course, to approve the minutes of the last meeting. Need a motion on that. Motion by Rob, seconded by Betty. Looking at the minutes of our last meeting, do we have any correction or additions? If not, then voting on the minutes of the last meeting, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to our informational items. I see Mr. Johnson is here for the Sanitary District. Brian, do you have any comments for us?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nothing in particular this month other than, effects of COVID are hitting everywhere, including supply chains, and it's affecting us too, starting to. So we're managing that the best we can with operational cuts where we can be efficient, and with some delay of some capital bidding items. As you'll see in like our minutes, we're tabling some projects just to see how some other projects come in and do one reallocation if we need to instead of month over month. So yeah, things in an uncertain world.
Pastusha joined.
You're approved, Kate. Come on in. Excuse me, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're paying the bills and so forth, and it looks good. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Kate, we have Brian Johnson from the Greater Peoria Sanitary District. Did you have any questions for him? Okay. All right. No one with any questions, Brian?
Thank you.
Great job. And we have Mark Little, who is in charge of our facilities master plan. Does anybody have anything for Mark? Or first of all, Mark, I'll let you proceed.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. I really have no new updates today for you. The only active project we have going is the AV upgrade within this room. We're meeting with the vendor that was approved at last month's board meeting. We're meeting with them actually this week to work on those details and to get a purchase order out for that specific project.
And that probably won't be going until the first of the year at least.
Right. We'll get a PO cut. Like with everything else, the supply chains are tight. It's hard to get stuff from AV equipment to IT equipment, so we're all having challenges getting things. So, no, we just want to get the PO put out and that project moving forward. I'm guessing late winter, early spring before that gets all done.
Okay, you might as well stay right there because you're going to have the first two resolutions. And the first resolution has to do with our farmland and renting it and so forth. So I need a motion to proceed with this resolution. Motion by Betty, seconded by Dylan. Okay, if you'll go ahead, Mark, on this particular item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In front of you today is the approval to move forward with the rental of the farmland out by the jail. We define that as the Maxwell Plank Road farmland. There's approximately 155 acres out there owned by the county. The land had been under lease since 2014 from the same farmer. We had decided late last year, early this year, that we were going to put that out for bid and up for a 3-year bid for the growing seasons of 2022, 2023, and 2024. I worked with purchasing. They put out the bids. We received the bids, and we received 6 bids back, and the top bidder was a bid of $321 per acre for that 155 acres for the next 3 years. That's a little higher than what we were receiving before. Prior to that, we were getting $307 an acre, so the per acre price did go up. And if you approve this moving forward, I'll work with the state's attorney's office to get a contract in place, and we'll get that moving forward.
That's good to see the price for us went up. Anybody have any questions in regard to this for Mark? All those in favor of accepting this resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Thank you, Kate. All those opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. And we have a second resolution which deals with some of our farmland as well. I need a bid on this, or pardon me, a motion on this for this resolution. Motion by Rob, second by Betty. Okay, and we have, again, Mark, if you'll proceed with this one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is what we refer to as the Edwards Farm. This was the land down in Edwards along Route 8. This was the property that we acquired a couple years ago in the flood buyout. And we actually have had this piece of land under rent for the 2021 season from the gentleman who was running the year before. And we also, it was determined that we needed to put it out for bid. It was put up for bid for 3 years for the 2022, 2023, and 2024 growing seasons. We had 2 bidders on that 20.5 acres, and the top bidder was $210 per acre. This past year, we will receive $150 per acre off of that. That's what was the land was being rented for, so that's a pretty good increase on that. That is not as much acreage, is not as good as land, so that's why the price is a lot less. Any questions on this one?
No questions? All those, go ahead, Jim.
I guess this would be a Scott question. So where does this go into like uncommitted general fund?
So these revenues are booked into the facilities department revenue budget. And because we're cash renting them, we do on an annual basis owe property taxes on both of these both of these areas using the farm assessment process.
Any other questions? Calling the vote on this resolution. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Kate. All those opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Little.
Thank you.
And we have our third resolution, which has to do with the kitchen remodeling out at GEC. All need a resolution. And Betty, you made the motion. Thank you. Seconded by Dylan. And we have from GDC.
My name is Ryan Breedlove from the Juvenile Detention Center.
Thank you. And Ryan, you've been there a number of years, and in fact, I think you're second in command.
That's correct.
So, Mr. Chairman, either Ryan or myself will be happy to answer any questions you might have, but this is, you're doing 2 things here with this resolution. The first one is a financial, and that is accepting a grant from the State Board of Education and then appropriating the on the expenditure side, the value of that grant, which is $38,456. That grant is to be used, it comes from the National School Lunch Program, and it's to be used to replace kitchen equipment at the JDC. The second component of your approval is the award of a bid for that kitchen equipment. The low bidder that we're recommending in terms of supplying that kitchen equipment is Culinary Depot from Spring Valley, New York. They will be using Rural Mechanical as their local contractor to do the installation of this equipment, and that's included in their bid price of $51,152.97. So the grant covers the actual equipment purchase itself. The JDC, Ryan and Brian and the team out there will be covering the installation cost from Rural, which is just a hair short of $12,700, and that is capable of being covered by their existing FY21 budget, so there's no budget amendment necessary for the installation of the new equipment that is to be purchased. Ryan, did I leave anything out or anything you want to add?
Cover that pretty much perfectly. Thank you.
Happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Everybody understands that the school lunch program is really providing the money for the equipment and so forth. And they already have it in their budget to cover the installation. So that's why it comes to a little over $51,000. Those are how the money's put together from those two things, the equipment as well as installation. So we're okay on it. Seems like we're doing pretty well there because it has been budgeted for, plus we got the help from the National School Lunch Program.
Mr. Chairman, I would just add that the reason why it's here instead of in Public Safety Committee, and it'll be an informational item at Public Safety Committee tomorrow, is that this technically, with it being a kitchen project, is a facilities-related project. So that's why it's coming, the bid award is coming before you, and we just packaged everything together, the grant and the bid combined.
Any other questions or comments? Yes, Rob.
My question is, did we ask for maintenance from the other two vendors? I saw one vendor only. There's only one vendor that submitted how much it would cost to maintain the equipment. Is that something that was asked and not provided by the other two, or is it not being charged by the other two vendors?
I believe it was asked but not provided.
So is there any maintenance that will be included?
Look at my bid sheet again here.
Mr. Renault, while Ryan's looking that up, I would say, as typically might be the case, any maintenance that we might see would fall under our time and materials vendor bidding process that we have for the various trades. We have multi-year bids that this committee's previously approved, one for electricians, one for plumbers, one for HVAC, and similar equipment. So I would fully expect that whatever maintenance that would not specifically be covered by the manufacturer's warranty, or once the manufacturer's warranty expires, we would cover under our annual T&M contractor bid that we have.
I guess my concern is it's not a one-for-one comparison. If one vendor is submitting 3 years of maintenance, plus they also submitted, I guess, a freight charge. There's no cost for the other ones, but I just want to make sure that it's all one-for-one.
Great question, Mr. Renault. I would say, the vendor that did propose maintenance also To the best of my knowledge, although we can certainly check between now and the county board meeting, would potentially not be compliant with all the bid regulations that are in the county's purchasing ordinance, specific to the requirement that we have a U.S. Department of Labor Bureau of Apprenticeship and Training certificate for anyone doing the install. And so since the one vendor that proposed a standard maintenance plan in their bid was also going to be responsible for doing the install, they would not be able to meet the bid specifications or the basic requirements in our purchasing regulations if they do not have that DOL certificate. And to the best of my knowledge, they do not. So that would be a perfectly justifiable reason why we would not consider them for bid award.
Thank you. The only reason I asked is because that was the only local vendor, so I just want to make sure that we were being fair across the board. Thank you.
Great question, Mr. Renault.
Mr. Dillon?
No, and Rob, I would, if you look at this, it's a griddle, a hot plate, stove, and stuff. I guess the best way to kind of think about if they're offering a maintenance program is, say you go buy something at a big box store and they ask you if you want one of those warranties to how often do you maintain your stove at home or any of that other stuff. And some companies offer, and I'm not saying they are, but where they just come and look at it and charge you to look at it. There really should be no maintenance on the stove, hot plate, or refrigerator unless something goes wrong, and that should be covered and depending on what the manufacturer's warranty would be. But then labor is not included. So really, and you said 12 something. I see this says 9,500 to install. It is a local installer, rule is, so the install is installed by a local company. It's just a matter of supplying for, is that right? Was it 12,000 or 9,000?
The bid says 9,500, but the math in terms of what's covered by the grant and what is not covered by the grant is the 12,000.
Okay.
And installation is not covered by the grant.
But it's in their budget.
Correct.
Thank you for those questions. Do we have any other questions? Being no other questions, I'll call for the resolution. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Ryan. Okay, moving on to miscellaneous, and the first person I'm going to let have the floor in miscellaneous is Amy. Amy has got something to making a request to us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Highway Department would respectfully request a special infrastructure meeting prior to the December 9th County Board meeting. This is to receive quotations for our annual material proposals. Every year we get proposals from various vendors, including pavement patching, signs, culverts, those type of things that we use every year. And we get quotations to use them as we need them, so we only buy what we need. Due to some challenges we had with IDOT as far as getting paperwork for the procurement process approved, we're not able to open quotations until tomorrow, so we missed this committee meeting. So we would like to get that to the committee and then to the board prior to the end of the calendar year, so we can, if we need to, we can start ordering materials January 1st. So we're respectfully requesting a meeting. It shouldn't take very long prior to the December county board meeting.
Jim?
So Scott, how's that going to work with, oh no, actually we don't have, sorry, never mind. Answered my own question before I asked it. I was thinking we were having redistricting, but we're having a separate one tomorrow.
Rob?
I'm just asking it that if it's a fairly standard thing that we vote on, that we could just do it via poll vote prior to the meeting, rather than having a special meeting for that.
It is an annual appropriation. It's to acknowledge the vendors that submitted. IDOT requires that for their paperwork, to get it to the county board and for the December county board meeting. So it is standard.
Are you saying, do you think if they got you the information, we could poll vote it? Is that what you're asking?
That'd be my preference.
We can certainly do it that way, Mr. Chairman. It's pleasure of the committee, however you want to proceed.
What's the wishes of the other members of the committee? Rather than come down here for a meeting, the material can be, if they're going to open it tomorrow, you know.
Yeah, so it's just it's whatever you guys whatever you decide to do is we can accommodate from a staffing perspective. Just knowing just to make sure that the committee members know and understand, and this is we do poll votes, not a lot, but we do them every now and then. But just to make sure that everyone is aware and understands that it's a consensus to take it directly to the board. It's not actually a vote on the item itself. I say it that way because I'm reading directly from a text from Jenny, not specific to us, but to something that's come down from the Public Access Counselor at the Attorney General's office. We just want to make sure that the committee members know and understand that what you're doing is you're providing staff the consensus to take the item to the board directly, as opposed to actually voting on it in a committee meeting. So, but knowing that, you can proceed however you choose. We can poll vote it without a question, or if you really want to have a committee meeting, we can certainly accommodate that as well, whatever the committee wishes.
Phil?
Yes.
Yeah, I personally would need further clarification as to what we're doing here, I should say.
Oh,
I think
okay.
you shed some light on it, Scott.
All right, then let's hold a regular special meeting on the 9th, probably at 5:30. That would be plenty of time, I think, because this is something that we annually do. And
Will details of that be provided, or what? How does
Yeah,
it work?
the packet will go out in advance, Ms.
Okay.
Duncan. So you'll have plenty of time to read the materials. Mr. Chairman, if you want to have a meeting in person, not a problem. I know there are some board members that are planning some type of a holiday meal before the county board meeting on the 9th. So instead of actually setting a time specific, you just tell us you want to have the meeting on the 9th. We'll figure out a way to finagle the best time for everyone.
I got you. All right. So we'll have a special meeting for you, Amy.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other miscellaneous? Being no further business, the meeting is adjourned.